Hello, dear students. So today we'll be starting the chapter 1 of class 10, and in this chapter we'll be taking line by line of the NCERT because this is the most important thing which you need to learn. So as we'll be starting from the first chapter, so this chapter name is, as you can see on your screen, it is chemical reactions and equations. So these chemical reactions and equations indicate us that there is something to do with the chemical reactions, and we have to make equations of these reactions. So even before that we started, you can see that there is a line written over here: facts are not science, as the dictionary is not literature. It is absolutely true. The more open-minded you are to science, the more giver the science will be. That means you have to broaden your mindset and think that you are understanding everything, and understanding is everything in science. That is, you will learn what you will understand and you will skip whatever you don't understand, even if you make such big and great notes of it. So that means understanding is the first thing which you need to learn through this video. So we'll be keeping short videos of these chapters. So let's start and move further. So the first chapter, chemical reaction and equations, unfolds by discussing with you certain examples from your day-to-day life. The first one being milk left in during the milk left for the room temperature. Now, milk left at room temperature, what does that mean? You must have seen that there is one phenomena which is called curd formation or curdling of milk taking place. When you leave milk outside, the milk starts to form curd. This process is happening when milk is left at room temperature. So I'll be giving the reasoning for each and everything written, and then we'll be discussing further with the equation as the chapter unfolds. The second one is the iron tawa or pan when exposed to air or humid atmosphere. So this iron pan or tawa, the first thing which about this which you can think of is that it is made up of metal. So something which is made up of metal is reactive. Now, all these things, why are they reactive or metal is reactive, will be taught to you in this class itself. So for now, just bear with the info. So metal is the reactive state of an element. So an iron tawa, as you can see that it is made up of iron. So iron is very reactive. So it is exposed to humid atmosphere. When we talk about humid atmosphere, atmosphere gives us air and humid gives us water or water vapors. So that means moisture plus air, two things are acting upon iron. What happens then? An oxide layer is formed. So when an iron oxide, this can be ferrous oxide and this can be ferric oxide as well. So the ferrous and ferric oxide which are being formed are making the tawa turn black. Okay, so the second one solved. The third one is grapes get fermented. So the third thing which is being told to us is the grapes are getting fermented. Now you must have heard about wine formation. So wine is formed when we keep grapes into fermented form for a very long period of time. So grapes get fermented also because a chemical reaction takes place. Thirdly, food is cooked. Now the third thing is food being cooked. Now you know that whenever we are eating some vegetables, those vegetables are So whenever we are eating the vegetables, they are raw. So certain vegetables we eat as salad, they need not to be cooked, but most of the vegetables are raw and they need to be cooked. So when they need to be cooked, their form changes from one to another. So that means food is cooked. Now the food gets digested in our body. Okay, this thing you can understand by thinking that whenever there is vomiting or whenever you start to chew your food, the food doesn't remain in the same sense as it was earlier. That means it get digested in our body. So that means food changes from one form to another form. And after being completely digested, waste materials are removed from our body, and rest of the food which was beneficial for the body gets digested by the body cells and moves into the bloodstream and reaches each and every part of our body. Lastly, we respire. Now what does we respire means? We When we respire, we breathe, we take in oxygen and we give out carbon dioxide. It is not such a simple process. This oxygen, which is being taken up by the body, and carbon dioxide released into the atmosphere, are also formed in combined forms inside our body. So all these things are indicating us towards a very important thing which you have already learned in your class 9th: chemical change. Chemical change. If you can't recall, I'll just quickly brief you about the difference between physical and chemical change. Physical changes are those changes when the substance which is changing does not change its physical form. Like you are tearing a paper, the paper will remain paper only even after tearing. Suppose you are heating water, but when the water will cool down, it will remain water only. That means the vapor, if conserved, will again get condensed into the water only. That means no new thing is being formed. The substance which is undergoing the change is conserved in its original form. So that is a physical change. Secondly, okay, one more example, a very great example. When you eat salad daily with your food, you get to see a lot of vegetables and fruits being chopped and you eat them raw. Now that chopped version of fruit is also that original fruit only, and that entire fruit is also the same fruit because you have not cooked it, you have not boiled it, you have not changed its form. That means that is a physical change. On the other hand, chemical change has the permanent condition which says that if a new substance is formed, then only we will say that chemical change is has taken place. Like cooking of food. When you cook dal, the dal gets converted into something which has absorbed a lot of water, now is edible and is no more hard and solid form in which it can store. It will rot after a certain time if not eaten because microbes can now act on it. It is a boiled version of the same thing. So it is not the same thing anymore. So it has formed new thing. Now, if you are preparing tea, you will be taking water, you will be putting tea leaves, tulsi, sugar, and all the things, and then you will be boiling it. And after that, when you will be obtaining a slurry, that will be the tea, and the solid part you will be sieving out and removing. But now you cannot obtain water out of tea. If you keep on heating the tea will vaporize, but it will not give you water separately, neither the sugar, neither the uh, color of the tea which it has inscribed into it. That means from all those contents which we had taken physically, we have formed a new thing which is the tea. So it can never be converted back into its constituent elements. That means that chemical change has taken place. Now we can also understand this by one very beautiful example of physical and chemical change both. You all have used a candle. If not recently, you would light candles in on Diwali festival. So you would have seen candles. The candle is formed of two things. One is the wick and other one is the wax. Now the wax keeps on melting and the wick keeps on burning. Now, melting and burning are two different things. Now, you may think that, ma'am, melting means there is some heat involved. Heat is involved. I never told you that if we are heating, then there is no physical change, or if we are heating, then there is only chemical change. So, look carefully. If we are heating something, you can see that the molten form of wax is deforming, but it is still wax because it after that again solidifies when the candle stops burning. But on the other hand, if we look at the wick, wick gets converted into ash, and we can never obtain back the same wick. If we have to use the same wax and form a candle, then we will have to use a new wick. That means the burning of wick has formed a new substance, which is the ash, whereas the wax was earlier also wax, now also wax. So now you can easily differentiate and tell me that melting of wax was a physical change and chemical change was the burning of the wick. If you have understood, write in the comment box that in burning of candle, what is the physical and chemical change involved. Now, if we move further, you can see that in the all above situations, the nature and identity of initial substance has somewhat changed. Now, all these examples which we have discussed, now you will understand why I discussed with you in so much detail chemical and physical changes. The milk is getting converted into curd, and the curd will never be converted back to milk. That means it is a chemical change. Again, when we are talking about iron tawa, exposed to human atmosphere, the tawa will become black and it will never be again the same color because oxide layer has formed. You might try and removing that oxide layer with n number of um activities and daily reels which you would have seen, but still the oxide layer will not never be completely removed because it was a chemical change. Second, thirdly, now there are grapes being fermented. Grapes will never be formed again after wine formation. Food being cooked, if the food is food will never be uncooked again. After that, food getting digested, once you have eaten a food, it will never be coming back to its original form of raw stored food at your home. After that, you have respired. The moment I'm talking to you, you are taking in oxygen and giving out carbon dioxide. That oxygen which you inhaled and the carbon dioxide which you removed will never be taking again the same form or coming back inside your body in the same form. There will be another oxygen molecule which will be entering your body. Also, this oxygen which is entering your body, and it is helping in the breakdown of glucose. So that means during the respiration, a lot of chemical changes are taking place inside the body. So we have learned these physical and chemical changes in our previous classes. I hope now you have understood what is happening. So there is one more thing which now we can clearly associate, that whenever a chemical change occurs, we can say that a chemical reaction has taken place, because something which has reacted with the other thing will not be able to come back to the original form. Okay, now since we have started to talk about chemical reaction, I will tell you what is a chemical reaction. So I will give you a very simple equation which you would have seen numerous times in class 9 as well. So carbon plus oxygen gives you carbon dioxide. So I have written C plus O2 gives CO2. Now you must be familiar with that. C means carbon, O means oxygen, and CO2 means